The past 3 seasons have seen Suzuki's Alex Dumas and BMW's Ben Young trade wins and championships back and forth. So far in 2023, Dumas seems to be catching all the right breaks, while Young has had his fair share of disappointments. The first race in a triple-header weekend here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park is next. Marshall Ferguson alongside Colin Fraser as we get set for round 4, officially Colin, of the GP Bikes Pro Superbike feature class. Of course, it is after round 3 that was washed out in Nova Scotia, Superbike Atlantic Motorsport Park. First time we've been on track for a race, as practice did happen in Nova Scotia. Ben Young gets the BS Battery Pole Position Award ahead of Alex Dumas, but a bit of a surprise in third here at CTMP.
Well, it was a hurry up and wait because of the weather, which seems to be the story for the entire season so far. Tons of rain. Jordan Zook, who of course missed all of last season with an injury motocrossing, has been on the comeback trail, has shown some pace, has had a lot of bad luck and some pretty frightening incidents, but he has had so much success at this venue, and it's not shocking that when we get to this place, his confidence, his incredible amount of laps around this place come into play, and he's right with the top guns.
Let's hear from our BS Battery Pole Position Award winner. Here is Ben Young.
And with Ben Young qualified number 1 in round 4, Ben, how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, we unfortunately didn't get the full qualifying session just with the practice session in the rain, but yeah, we always run well here. The BMW works phenomenal, so it was a great run for us and the team, and got the bike running. So hopefully, has 3 good races ahead for us.
All right, Colin, let's take a look at our starting grid for all 3 races here at CTMP.
In the continuing saga of 2023 in unbelievably bad weather, guess what? Qualifying didn't happen the way it's supposed to, and we had to use times from earlier, which means no bonus points. And you're wondering why I'm mentioning that? Ben Young needs all the bonus points he can get. So again, as with Superbike, this has hurt the Young effort as he's trying to catch up in the standings against Alex Dumas.
Should be a great lineup for all 3 races. Plenty to debate in these tightly contested corners as we get a look at the track map.
So the big deal about Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Old Mosport, is this is the same layout, identical setup as to what the world champions raced on in the 60s and 70s, a track with unbelievable history in world racing. And of course, these guys are going to add to the history right now.
Let's go down to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Said, with more on our top 2 contenders.
Thanks, guys. Both Ben Young and Alex Dumas are equally close to making history. Both riders have 11 Superbike wins under their belt, meaning their next victory would put them in top 5 all-time in their class. So it's safe to say that there's more than a trophy on the line for these competitors here today at CTMP. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. Set for 20 laps here at CTMP in race number 1, as Jordan Zook looks like he has an issue on his bike, Colin, pointing down below as Samuel Garan is calling for some help, it looks like, from the pit wall.
Well, you can't normally hear the riders' voices, but I heard the word fire, and we all know what that means. I can't see the fire, but they're all pointing at Zook's bike. Okay, here comes an extinguisher, and we're going to see, hopefully we are careful. You can see Dumas moving out of the way because you do not want to be downwind from that if you can possibly avoid it. Now look at Jordan. He's apparently ordering another round. Not sure what's going on there. Well, I know what's going on there. It's happened before. He's going for his spare bike. So the problem is, can we get these bikes off the grid with the tires still warm, or do we need another warm-up lap? And it looks like they're going to try and go straight to a hot start as fast as you can. And Dumas has backed into position, so he's not at a risk of a jump start. So let's see. Yep, we're going into the starting process.
It is the Apex Cycle starting lights as one less rider on the front of the grid. Jordan Zook will start from the pits, and they are off as Ben Young gets a shot on the outside of turn 1. Down the hill they go. Dumas and Young side by side.
Yeah, didn't see this at all in 2023. This is our championship playing out in live time. And look at Jordan Zook just bombing out of the pit lane.
For the top of turn 2, they'll go down the hill into 3. Here is Zook already making a pass on the outside of 2.
Yeah, and don't forget, no warm-up lap there, so it might have been on tire warmers, but he is not used to that bike. But meanwhile, at the front, The story of 2023 continues. Now, gotta mention, Ben Young does not want to let Dumas lead even one lap because that affects the bonuses, right? So a lot of pressure on Young right now to get the lead before we complete this lap.
Dumas out in front as they head up into Moss's corners here. It's the Van Dolder's home team BMW of Ben Young trying to track him down on the Andretti straight as they make the turn through 5. And we get a look from the back of Alex Dumas' Purple Skull Brewing Suzuki, and there goes Young.
Yeah, and that is some serious horsepower or some kind of performance advantage. You can see Young with the traction control quite active in the taller gears. He has taken that lead. Can he hold it for the rest of the lap and make sure Dumas doesn't get the bonus this lap? We'll see what plays out. Now let's see what we watched from the onboard from the trackside camera, and Young with a lot of performance, and you can see that bike squirming around. He is using everything, and Alex cannot be happy to watch. Here we are on board with what Alex was watching. You see Ben wheeling off the crest of a minor hill, and that bike is putting the power down wonderfully. There you go. He led that lap, so Dumas does not get the bonus.
Let's go down to Sarah Said with more on Jordan Zork's struggles to start this race.
All right, there appeared to be smoke coming out of Jordan Zoke's bike right before the race started. Can you tell us what happened there?
There appeared to be a little bit of a fire down by the exhaust in the belly pan. We're not sure why at this point. We'll have to see the bike when we get it back.
How is this going to affect the race moving forward, do you think?
Well, he's won from pit lane before. I think he's the only rider in Canadian history to do that, so we'll see if he can do it again.
Thank you so much.
Working lap 2 here is Ben Young extending his lead early on, but just a couple of laps in, and you can see Jordan Zoke on the running order on the left-hand side there, Colin, already up into 10th, up 7 spots from where he began.
As his mechanic Ryan pointed out 3 years ago in the rain, Zoke started from the pit lane. It was a remarkable race. He battled with Sam Garin, and it is a classic war. Garin has yet to win a race, but we'll be back to see if he can do it at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park on TSN.
The Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship is brought to you in part by Economy Lube and Tire, BS Battery, and Joe Rocket. Closed captioning for the Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship is brought to you in part by Goderich Toyota, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Suron. Working lap number 5 here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Ben Young extending his lead out in front. Alex Dumas, Tommy Cassis, and Samuel Garin battling for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now. And in that 2 spot, Alex Dumas trying to sort out how aggressive he wants to be as a 36-point championship leader.
Well, I feel really good around this track. I feel really confident passing guys and try to lead. So for sure, I'm going to try to win or at least end up behind Ben, which I don't lose that much points doing it. But if there's somebody between me and Ben, for sure I'll do everything possible to try to pass him because Ben has his bad luck this year. I've had really good luck, so anything can happen. I want to keep that points lead or even make it bigger this weekend.
Trying to hold on to his championship lead as we get a look at Samuel Garin here down the Andretti straight against Tommy Cassis. Side by side they go up across 286, 7, 8, 9. Climbing all the way down and under braking into the corner. Here goes Cassis.
Yeah, what a nice move on the inside by TV Tommy, and the Garin cam never disappoints. It was impossible to tell who was in 3rd the whole way up the backstretch. Now that cross-plane crank Yamaha of Cassis is up to 3rd, and we got to mention Jordan Zoke has climbed all the way to 7th. He's catching his teammate Dion in 5th.
Amazing to see as he's climbed his way up from 17th, starting from the pit at the beginning of this race. But right now, with Ben Young out in front, it's 2, 3, and 4 between Dumas, Cassis, and Garin.
So what we're watching right now is what Dumas needs. He needs to be 2nd. It's damage limitation. 2nd will work very well. What he doesn't need is for the 2 guys right behind, and these guys' lap times are near identical, to catch up, because losing points to Young over time, because we have 2 more races this weekend and then 3 at Shannonville in September, he could fall back if he keeps getting pushed out of the top 2. He doesn't look like he's going to get any points for leading laps. There were no points for qualifying. So very much the first 2 are concerned about the points, and I think right now Ben Young may be a little bit careful because he's still a carrot at the end of the stick, right? Yeah. They can see him.
On board once again, Samuel Garin charging down that back straight. so much power, and it's Cassis fighting him off once again. Going into turn 9.
Great move on the outside by TV Tommy, and they have slipstream there right onto the tail of Dumas. Now we need to mention Dumas, we saw is a little under the weather this weekend. He's not feeling his best, so he's got to worry about Ben Young and losing championship points, and what he doesn't want is exactly what he's in the middle of, is a battle that could push him down the order and hurt him in the standings. The guys behind the Garand that you can see a little wide lost a bit of time in fourth. Thomas Kazaz was battling for the lead at our last round in the rain and was after Dumas when he fell. We're missing Trevor Daly, who got hurt in the Atlantic Motorsport Park. So in terms of people who can threaten Dumas, there aren't quite as many, but two of them are right on top of him.
Yeah, one of the more creative line takers as well. You mentioned Samuel Garand there, charging around the outside, trying to find somewhere to challenge Cassis that might not be on the back straight. He wants to find somewhere different as he lines this one up and takes a little look and gets back in line.
Yeah, and we know that Dumas, look at how close they are even before they start the way up the hill. Now, right now, Dumas can tell that they're in the slipstream. You know that somebody's using your bike to cut the air. Now, when they pull out side by side, and this is amazing because we can't see him, but TV Tommy is just to our right shoulder. They are side by side at this point. Now you can see Garand's really working the slipstream on Dumas, and there's Kazaz had swung around the other way, and look, he went all the way up to third place.
Incredible move by Cassis that time, charging around the outside to hold on to third position, as you can guarantee that the helmet cam of Samuel Garand might look a little different than the onboard. He's got eyes right in front of him on Alex Dumas and Tommy Cassis as Ben Young continues to lead. Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, working lap number 13. As while we were away, Samuel Garand jumps ahead of Thomas Cassis and Alex Dumas up into second position. A strong showing from the BMW rider. Colin, here's how it happened.
Yeah, we're on board with the Suzuki of our points leader, and what a performance here by Garand. Desperate underneath on the brakes, and there you can see he swings back out and picks up the line. It shows the pace they're going at. He needs all the track he can get. Now Garand is going to take his BMW horsepower and tow a Suzuki and a Yamaha up the back straight. The question is, how will it play out with a new leader in the slipstream?
Yeah, and who can latch on to the back of Samuel Garand in this spot as you get the shot down the Andretti straight there. Dumas trying to get up onto the outside.
Nice move by Dumas, maybe a little early, and it didn't really pan out when he got into the harder air, when he was no longer behind the BMW, really didn't make much ground. I think it actually helped Thomas Kazaz the most, and he's very close. Honestly, nothing to choose between these three, so it's going to be strategy and a little bit of luck on the last lap.
Maybe testing out some different lines as well as to where they could potentially pass heading into the final stages, as a 6-second gap right now for Ben Young over his BMW teammate Samuel Garand, and Jordan Zoke fighting his way up into 5th position.
And I think what's happened here is that Young has decided to stretch his legs. We had an indication that he had the ultimate lap time pace that was a little bit beyond what these guys have. We're used to a slipstreaming war at the very front. This time it's a battle in the draft for second place, with Young really showing that new BMW, and we think it's at least partially aerodynamic advantage, because his bike and Garand's bike have very similar horsepower, and you can see Young is significantly ahead, and we think it's because that new BMW is so slippery.
With the power of the BMW here with Samuel Garand, where do you think Alex Dumas might be able to battle back in?
I always wonder at this point where you are in terms of gearing, because you can have a slightly underpowered bike, but if you're geared correctly, and we're going to find out right now, in the slipstream, you can still make it work. But see, he's trying to do what can work, and it just doesn't seem to work. As soon as he pulls out from behind the BMW, he can't pull the gear. And now our points leader has to ask himself the question, what is the trick that's going to get him to second? Because he does not want to lose a lot of points, and he really doesn't want to fall back off the podium, because that will really hurt him in terms of trying to hang on to the title.
Alex Dumas, the fastest to ever reach 10 race wins in the Canadian Superbike Championship, needed just 18 races to get it done. Doesn't look like he's challenging for the victory here today, but he dearly needs to try and get that second spot back from Garand.
And worth noting, Young pretty much from his debut, his whole career with BMW has been a podium contender. Almost no one has ever come in at that level until Dumas, and Dumas won his very first Canadian Superbike race. He was a rookie to the whole series, had never run in the support class, and really since then, except for a little bit of time with Jordan Soak, this has been the Ben and Alex show.
What a thrilling ride this must be for Samuel Garand out in front of Alex Dumas. Last year at CTMP in the 3 races, 11th, 5th, and 5th for Samuel Garand. Here he sits in second ahead of Dumas.
And let's mention that 11th was one of the most wacky crashes we've ever seen, where he basically ghost rode underneath his motorcycle and then picked it back up at Moss Corner. And look at this, that time in the slipstream it went pretty well. He stayed in the behind position just a little longer, and this is where he needs to be, but it really seems like Garand has the edge on the back straight, and I don't know, Kazis is probably trying to regroup and see what he's got. He has ridden very, very well, but he just seems slightly down on power. You see Garand pulling a power wheelie onto the front straight as this battle for second continues, and we'll see how it plays out when we return here on TSN.
The Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship is brought to you in part by Economy Lube and Tire, BS Battery, and Joe Rocket. As we continue at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Alex Dumas holding on to that number 2 position. Ben Young out in front, Samuel Garand and Tommy Cassis all over him as Garand dives to the inside of turn 8 and makes the pass on Dumas with just 3 laps remaining.
And this is definitely not what Dumas needs to see, and so much pressure on him right now to try and get that second place. Here we go on board, looking back from Dumas. Garand ambitious in the draft, then he comes up the inside. Dumas is willing to give him the room, and then here you can see he also gives him the space to drift back out and pick up the line, but it's going to get hairy.
Down the front straight they go, and as Garand's in front, that'll make Ben Young's pit wall ecstatic. I guess the biggest question right now for Samuel Garand is, do you want to be out in front going into the final lap, or sitting in behind Alex Dumas after showing he can pass him twice at the back end of the Andretti Straight?
And boy, do I wish I knew the answer to that question. I think, oh boy, Garand using all the track on the exit of turn 2, and that's dramatic stuff. He needed that bit of road, and you see Dumas tightening up his line. He's thinking that maybe Garand's tires aren't as happy as they used to be, and that may be true. If someone's going to use their tires overly hard, it might be Slam and Sammy. The guy who almost always is easy on his tire is Alex Dumas.
Young continuing to ride clean out in front as they are bunched up, headed down the back straight, and a look here, exiting the corner, little wheel hop that time from Cassis.
Yeah, definitely great effort by Cassis. He's doing everything he can there to be where he needs to be, but it is not working. Dumas trying to figure out that Garand draft again. He's looking on the inside, and again, when he pulls out, we've seen it work once, and I think the timing, look at that, Cassis on the outside again. Super ambitious riding by Thomas Cassis, even though he does not have the top speed.
And that Parts Canada Yamaha trying to find a way around Alex Dumas. How much would that help Ben Young in his championship hopes?
An awful lot is the answer to that, and it's almost too unpleasant to be true for Dumas, because again, this is exactly what Ben wanted and absolutely what Dumas wanted to be clear. And I'm sure in Dumas' mind, he was going to be battling for the lead right now, not struggling for a podium position. And here you can see that Garand is maybe a little bit, didn't use that line quite to the same degree that time, didn't want to take that chance. So good for Sam, because over the years, we've seen him conduct a lot of exploratory work in turn 2, and some of it hasn't gone so well.
Carrying as much speed as he possibly can to try and hold off that Purple Skull Brewing Liqui Moly Suzuki of Alex Dumas, the 23 plate on the front. You see in the purple suit, trying to track down Samuel Garand down the back straight once again here on lap 19.
Yeah, this is a classic motorsport slipstreaming battle. Going to come down to the last few moments of the race, and very hard to predict. Here you can see Dumas staying in the draft, waiting, and what we're doing now is trying to figure out the timing. There he pulled out really late. Even that didn't work, and I honestly thought that move might be a successful one. And as usual, Kazaz just hangs in the draft and toes right up. He's so aggressive on the brakes through turn 8.
What a race we have here at CTMP as Ben Young gets the white flag. The final lap is 2, 3, and 4. Garand, Dumas, and Cassis putting on a show for the fans in attendance at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Yeah, the Black Bomber stretches its lead. What an impressive effort by that new BMW, but all the eyes are 6 seconds behind, and here's what we're all watching is this crazy fight. Look at Dumas on the wide line there trying to carry all the speed he's got and thinking about the outside of Garand, a spot where Garand uses more than all the track.
Samuel Garand out of Quebec City trying to finish this off in a back and forth battle, and Alex Dumas doing everything he can to fight back in, looks inside, takes a different line, headed down into 5.
Yeah, Garand super comfortable on that wide line, and you mentioned Quebec City, not exactly a hotbed of road racing, but right now 2 of our top 4 are from Quebec City.
Dumas one final time down the back straight here at CTMP as Ben Young clear out in front, trying to trim down that championship lead. It looks like he'll succeed, but can Dumas make a move into the final stretch?
He pulled out early. Garand, you could see, is crawling underneath the paint on that BMW, trying to make himself small. Look at him, really tight that time, was not leaving the door open at all, and Dumas really gonna have to come up with something creative. We've seen him do it here before.
As down the front straight goes Ben Young, moving into the top 5 for career Superbike class victories, and it is Samuel Garand holding off the charging Alex Dumas and Tommy Cassis for second. What an effort from Garand.
And I think Dumas had a plan there, but Garand was really tight in those last couple of corners, and I think that was an outstanding competition. Now, Young's got to be wondering right now what happened behind him. Big question. He looks, who does he see first? Dumas. Not what he wants to see, but there's more information coming. The last guy is usually the guy who was first at the line. And look at this, Garand just told him, I was second. That's some very happy BMW owners there.
BMW celebrates, and rightfully so. Ben Young and Samuel Garand, a formidable challenge for Suzuki and Alex Dumas here in 2023.
Didn't get to talk about it much, but Shannonville hot guy Eli Ducash on his Yamaha joined the series for the first time this year. Really strong performance by Ducash, and we expect more from him. Now let's head down to the hot pit with Sarah and hear from our winner, Ben Young.
Congratulations on the win. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was good. We had a solid race. We had great race pace, which we knew about. We just had to execute it. So I'm really glad I got off to a great start and put my head down, got by Alex on the first lap, and kind of just put my head down and see if those boys could hang. So yeah, it was great. 1-2 for BMW, so really happy for Sam, and obviously that helps us a lot with our championship. So, you know, big ups on him, and yeah, the boys got the bike working phenomenal this weekend. That
was your 12th win, meaning you're now in top 5 in all time in your class. How does it feel to make history?
Yeah, great. You know, I know there's a lot of legends around in our sport, and I'm really happy to be a part of that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
A big day for Ben Young, opening things up as he drops the point deficit from 36 points down to 25, and now Samuel Garand jumps from 4th to 3rd in the championship as well. A big day for him and for BMW.
Ben Young now 1 race out, and that is an important psychological milestone.
Ben Young hoping that he can repeat as Bridgestone CSBK champion. Race 1 at CTMP, a huge help in that effort, but this championship is far from over.